All right, hey, I caught up with the crew here. We're doing some finishing touches on the pond, working on some edge treatment. We're doing the aquatic plants right now. But I caught Brian at the perfect time. I wanted to talk about edge treatment, which was a big issue on this pond. It was not very approachable. Now the edges are real important here, and Brian's our specialist on making the edges look just tight. So we're gonna break here for a second. And Brian, can you talk to us about edges for a minute?
Well, there's a lot of different types of edges. You can do dirt edges, gravel edges. I personally like to mix it up. I like areas where the gravel is going to go wide in some areas and come up real close to the rocks in some areas and almost look like there's no gravel on the edge. It looks real natural. Also, when you're cutting your liner, always cut twice. I like to cut it extra long first and then go back and cut off the excess in case I got to do any backfilling or something like that, and it might take more liner than I expected. So now I'm doing my last cut here. Pretty simple stuff. I still leave a little bit. I like to leave a little bit personally. Some people like to fold it. And the reason why I like to leave it is basically it's a little more supportive, and also it's a little bit of a weed barrier. Keeps the weeds from coming into your pond a little more. So right now what I'm going to do is just finish cutting this. I'll put a little gravel up in here just so that if I put dirt all the way up to this, sometimes it'll actually wick out. You'll see a little wet spot right here. So I always put a little bit of gravel first, and then I'll put dirt up to it, or if I decide to make it wide gravel, I'll make it wide gravel. It's a root, cut it. Okay, so what I got going here now is I've got my gravel up against the liner here to prevent wicking. Put a little dirt here. I want this to be mostly dirt looking here. Looks a little more natural. Now what I'm going to do is compact this area a little more. I want it to be nice and compact so it doesn't erode away on us later on. After that, I'm going to be bringing in more dirt to fade this out more. What I'm doing when I'm fading out, it's not necessary, but it just looks better. So the more fading we do with our hills, the more natural they look. I call it volcano style if it's not faded. Sometimes if someone just has a abrupt mountain right here, it doesn't look right. If we fade it out a little more, it looks much more natural. So more dirt.
Hey, look, I caught Mike here, but he's doing the aquatic plants for this pond right now. And now Mike makes our ponds look really good. It's kind of like, you know, it's not even complete until Mike's been there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pause here for a second. I'm going to have Mike explain to you exactly what he does to make it look so good, because he has a couple tricks up his sleeve to make it look better than normal. Okay, so Mike, go ahead and do what you go do and show him what's going on.
All right, Eric. Okay, first of all, what I find what most people do when they get new plants is they just take the bucket and they just stick it in the pond like that. Most of the time it puts the plant too deep and the plant stresses or it just dies. What I like to tell people is pretend that the water is the dirt and you plant your plants just like you would when you plant plants in the ground. So like here I'm taking this and I move the edge out, make sure the crown is not below the water, and then just put the rock back and cover it up. Again, what you want to keep in mind is how big the plants are going to get. You know, you don't want to overplant your pond because that could end up, you know, causing you problems in the long run. I like to keep them spaced apart so they don't grow into each other, so it gives the pond a nice clean look.
Hey, I want to talk about construction of this waterfall real quick and explain to you why it looks so much nicer. We've used a little bit of a composition in here, and we've used some large character boulders. Now in nature, as water's rushing down the stream, it knocks away all the small stuff and it moves around the large boulders. So it's important in a waterfall to use larger character stones. And if you'll notice, if you have a 24-inch tall waterfall like this one here, you should frame it with a 30-inch character boulder or accent stone. On this side we have 2, and this side we have 1. It balances that out nicer instead of just using 2 of the same size boulder on each side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out of here. We're going to let the guys finish up doing the dressing of the edges and finish planting all the aquatic plants and so forth, and we'll come back and check out the finished product at a later date.